thumbs up. You can give me a thumbs down. You can give me, I'm not so sure. You can make faces. Literally anything will help me kind of gauge how we're doing during this introductory call. And then before we get started, just as a reminder, this is completely recorded. We will be sending you a recording after this is over, and we'll have a bunch of links to share with everyone as well. So, we ready to get started? Yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Luis. I am the director of product here at MindStudio, and I'm very excited to share with you all some kind of like an intro course to AI agents and building AI agents. Our platform, MindStudio, allows you to create AI agents very quickly. In fact, we're going to be building several agents on during the course of this call today, and you can check out the video afterwards. No need to follow along. But I just kind of want to show you some of the capabilities of these agents that you can build, and then also just show you how easy it is. So a little bit about MindStudio. We are a venture-backed company. We have a bunch of different investors, very interesting folks from, Google, LinkedIn, former CEO of Disney, et cetera, and several different venture funds. And MindStudio is a platform that allows you to build these incredibly powerful and useful AI agents. There's a bunch of different ways that you can deploy these agents that we will talk about as we go through the workshop today. We allow you to easily design, build, and deploy these AI agents with just a few clicks. And when folks compare us to other companies, we're an AI workflow automation platform, and so we often get compared to a platform called N8N. And a lot of people that use N8N and have used MindStudio typically will say things like N8N is like Android and MindStudio is like iOS. So if you really want deep, you want to go deep, you want to go into all the nooks and crannies, you're super techie nerd, you can go and build things in N8N. And if you just want to build an AI agent with an easy to use interface and still have that deep control, you'd use MindStudio. We allow you, if you create an account, you get instant access to over 200 different AI models from all of the major providers. You don't need any sort of API keys. We have API keys and enterprise agreements with all of these providers. And so when you build AI agents, you get to pick and choose what model you want to use as you're building the agents. We're model agnostic. We are not partial to any particular model provider. And typically when any of these providers drops a new model, we get it live on the platform either the day of or the very next day. There's a bunch of other stuff in here that we're not gonna go through too in depth, but one thing that is important to understand about AI agents is the way I like to define AI agents is we really just break it up into these two parts. There's AI, so we make a call to an AI model, and then there's agent. It does something on your behalf. So that gives us like a very broad definition of what an AI agent can be. And on MindStudio, you'll find that you can deploy these agents in several different ways, whether that be these AI powered web apps, like a page that you share that is just a link that you'd share with someone. They can open up and use the agent on a web page. They can run autonomously, so you can have these agents run on a regular schedule. For example, do this at 8 a.m. Every single Monday. And we also we have a browser extension that allows you to trigger the agent with the click of a button as you're browsing the web. In fact, that's the first agent that I'm going to show you in just a second is via this browser extension here on the right, where you can pin these agents. They become kind of your little magic buttons as you're browsing the web. They can pull content from the web page and do something with that content and present you with any sort of output depending on how you prompt it. You can trigger these agents via email, meaning your agent can have a unique email address and you can forward any sort of email threads to these agents. It'll take all of the content from your email threads and it can process that content with AI and do something with it. And then these agents can also be triggered either via webhook from third-party services that offer webhook connections or via API if you are building your own custom applications and need an API endpoint to do some sort of AI processing in your larger orchestrations. And then lastly, you can make these agents available in any of your, MCP workflow. So if you're used to using a chat client like Anthropic or something, you can make the agent available as part of that MCP suite for your chat client. So let me quickly show you a couple of agents. Here, as I mentioned, I have this side panel, and the side panel has a bunch of agents pinned here. Now I can click on the MindStudio logo, and I get access to 100 different, ready-to-use agents in the store, as well as my personal library of agents that I have created here. There's a bunch of agents that say demo on here because this is my demo account. But the agent that I'm going to show you is called TLDR. And this agent saves me a ton of time. The way it works is it takes any content from a web page and basically summarizes it, extracts all of the key learnings, identifies any people or entities mentioned, and just allows me to process information much more rapidly. And this agent works in all sorts of places. AI agents that are triggered via the browser extension work on, regular what I would consider to be like a traditional web page, like a blog post or an article. We can run the agent and it will take all of the content on the page and quickly summarize the agent. And these outputs can be completely customized. They also work on pages that are, online PDFs like this book of Mice and Men. And you can take this agent, run it on this online PDF. It will take all of the content, 107 pages, and present me a summary of the entire novel, all of the people, all of the characters, and I get to quickly parse all of this information. Similarly, it works on YouTube videos. So this is a 2-hour podcast with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and as much as I would love to listen to every 2-hour podcast that gets sent my way, sometimes I don't have time to listen to the entire podcast, even if it's on 2 times speed, but I still want to get all of the key information and see if there's any learnings that I can distill from a piece of content like this. So I can run that TLDR agent. It gets to pull the entire YouTube transcript and it will summarize the video for me, pull out the things that are important to note, and all of the people and entities mentioned. So what I'm going to show you really quick, we're actually going to build this agent on our own. And I'm going to show you how simple it is to make an agent like this and have something that is instantly useful in just a couple of minutes. So we're going to go to MindStudio. And once you create an account, you will land in this place called your workspace. Your workspace has a bunch of different sections. You can see, for example, if you are working on a team, you can organize agents within your workspace with different folders and things like that. You can see all the agents that are created by you, everything that's in your drafts. There is a library of ready-to-use agents, so you can click on any of these agents and run them. And there's also templates and scaffolds that basically show you how an agent is built. You can click on any of these things like this slime video generator, make a copy of it. It gives you some metadata, and you can see kind of some of the outputs of this AI agent. So this is a video that was completely generated via AI that via this scaffold here. Badri, you have your hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yeah, hi, Luis. So one quick question I have is, I know we are able to do this from the YouTube videos and all that. Do we have a way to do it like when the call is happening, like right now, right? I have an agent on the side, totally unrelated, unconnected. that can listen in and then transcribe or send me the sentiment?
Yeah, so MindStudio integrates everywhere. So if they're like, for example, Zoom has an API that you can gather the transcripts from. So what happens with these other agents that you are working with that are kind of these AI note takers, you can kind of build that same functionality, but you'll need to connect to that particular service via API in order to get the transcript of the a call that you're on, for example. Um, so uh, in
But
addition
without the
to
transcript, can you do it?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
you can if you can connect via API, you should be able to build agents for any particular use case. It really kind of
Awesome.
in your specific use case, it kind of depends on whether those APIs are available. Um, but yeah, it should be doable.
Okay. Thank you.
Hmm. So we talked about the ready-to-use agents. We talked about the templates. We also have community agents. These are kind of two brand new sections that we dropped, I think on Tuesday actually. So we're in the process of filling all this up, but you can also take a look at any of the ready-to-use agents. And if you find something that you like, you can also make a copy of that agent in addition to running that agent. So for example, this is an agent that does a bunch of deep research for you. We'll take a look at it a bit later, but with these agents, you're also able to create these agents that create some amazing outputs. So, for example, all of the content was researched and compiled and generated with AI, including the share image, kind of all of these takeaways, the entire interface, this podcast where all of the voices are AI generated, as well as the this web page that has all of these linked sections and the graphics and all of those things. So you can do a lot of really powerful stuff just looking at things that are in our store, modifying them, or just using them on your own. So building an AI agent is extremely simple. All you need to do is click on Create New Agent. It's this button at the top right, and this will take you to the interface that we call the AI Agent IDE, or also the editor for short. This is the canvas. This is where you create all of the automations that your AI agent executes. So one thing to understand about building AI agents is that all these AI agents are just workflows that you build. So similar to any other workflow that you've built on other platforms, this works in the very same way. All workflows in your agents all begin with a start block that initializes the agent, an end block that concludes the agent's run, and then everything in between. And you can add all kinds of different blocks in between that do many different things. For example, the most common block and the one that we're going to be using is this generate text block. And this generate text block makes a call to an AI model. Um, Now we want to make this AI agent. We're building, just as a quick reminder, we're building a version of this TLDR agent. Uh, and then we're going to publish it and pin it to our extension and use it so that we can extract some key learnings from the pages that we're on. And you can determine the type of agent that you're building just via this trigger run mode here on the right hand side. So I'm going to change this from on demand to browser extension. And that gives us access to a bunch of these things called launch variables. Launch variables, really very MindStudio workflows use this thing called variables. All that means is something that represents something else. So like remember when we were all in high school taking algebra and we said x equals 5 and y equals 10. All we're saying here is URL equals the actual URL that we're looking at on the page, or page content equals all of the text content on the page. So for example, if I used that page content variable, it's similar to pressing Command A on our page and copying that and pasting that into our AI prompt. Um, so now that we have access to these launch variables, we can actually bring that in as context for our AI prompts. So I can call any sort of variable and Um, and then I can simply select the variable that I'd like to bring into my AI prompt. And now we are bringing in all of the text for um, whatever page we are currently on. And then we can provide it with our task. So I'm going to keep my prompt very simple. I'm going to say extract key learnings. And just like that, we have built our very first agent. Now, it is a super simple agent. We can fine tune the prompt to get the exact output that we'd like. But this is all you really need to do. This one block pattern, bringing in some data via a web page, and then providing a task for the AI agent to accomplish and to give an output for. And then we will publish our agent. All we need to do is name it. We can name it by clicking on the name at the very top and or the top folder here on the left. And then we get access to a bunch of different settings. We're not going to dive too deep into these settings, but for now, I'm just going to name the agent here. So I'm going to say, we'll say something like extract learnings. And then we can go ahead and publish this agent. You do have access to things like version history and things like that. So, and as you build, your changes are saved automatically. So, for example, if I added a generate image block, you see we have draft saved here. If I remove that block, it's saving. The draft is saved. So you don't have to worry about saving as you go. That draft will always continuously save, but those changes won't be live until you actually hit that publish button. So we hit the publish button. There we go. Now our changes are live. We can open up the AI agent and you'll see that this was designed for the extension. Now what I'm going to do is just simply pin this agent to my extension here. And I can do that by clicking on these three dots. And there's this option to pin this to my extension. And if I don't have the browser extension itself, I can just click on Add to Chrome and it will take me to the actual extension page where you can install this for your Chrome browser here. So let's go ahead and try this out. We should be able to see, go back to these pages, and if I open up my agent here, I see I have my extract learnings agent now pinned, and excuse me, if I click on the agent, it will begin running. We can do the same thing. We'll run this, excuse me, in our book here. And in our agent itself, we also have access to change things like the model settings. So for example, if I wanted to use a different model, I simply click on the model settings and I have access to all of the major models from all of the major model providers. So I'm going to use Gemini 2.5 Flash. We have access to settings like the temperature and the max response size. So I can have this output 50,000 tokens if I wanted to. It might not fill that completely out, but it will, that is like the theoretical max. You can have a thinking budget for many of these models, a lot of different settings you can play around with and tweak. And, excuse me, folks. The other interesting part about building these agents is that every step can have a different AI model. So you can actually choose the AI model that works best for the particular task you're trying to accomplish in your workflows. So super, super useful. So let's go ahead and run this again on our YouTube video here. And you can see it generated a summary. It kind of created these different sections based off of the sections in the video. And rather than just summarizing, gives us the key points that they're trying to make. Excuse me, folks. Sorry, I have a bit of a tickle in my throat. Okay, let's make another agent really quick, and we are going to uh,
Hey,
use a
Luis.
technique. Yes.
Hey, real quick. uh, the syntax that you put in there, extract key learnings, is that like a known syntax or is that just what you, I mean, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I know what you mean. Like, why didn't I say summarize this?
Yes.
Um, yeah, so one of the key skills when building your AI agents is it comes down to being able to effectively communicate what you actually want from the agent because summarize has a very different meaning than extract learnings, right?
Mhm.
And so if we simply wanted a summary, I would have said just summarize the content on this page. But I actually didn't want the summary. I wanted the stuff that's in between the lines. I wanted the takeaways from the page. Excuse me. And so that's the reason that I use this phrase, exact phrase, extract key learnings from the page. And we might make a prompt that is much more complex than this, right? We might enumerate all of the exact learnings that we want from something like a web page. Actually, let me show you how modifying the prompt just slightly, we can get a completely different output for something
Yeah.
like this.
Is that part of the process to put the prompt in there and then look at the output results and maybe adjust? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Building AI agents is a very iterative process.
Okay.
So you until you have the until you kind of had the repetition of writing prompts over and over again, you're going to want to experiment with different phrasing. I'll show you some examples of more complex prompts in just a second, kind of towards the second half of this workshop. But yeah, writing prompts, and we actually cover, when we do our 2-day boot camp, the entire first half of the first day is all about writing prompts. And what I like to tell folks, there's a general framework that I use for writing prompts, and it's broken up into three key parts. Sorry, I'm just going to mute everyone really quick. It's broken up into three key parts. The first is the context. So give the AI model all of the information it needs to accomplish the task. The second is the actual task. What is the instruction that you are giving it? And prompting an AI agent, an analogy I use is like you are communicating with a brilliant but very literal intern. They can do amazing, amazing work, but only if you ask for it in the right way. So you give it context, you give it the task itself, and then you define the output. So how you want the output to look. So for example, I could have said extract key learnings, and then I could have said format your response into a table, right? And it would have created a table for me instead of this. Let's see here. I'll go back into the history. Here we go. Well, it'll format it into a table versus the last output you saw, which is more like an outline structure. So yeah, I'm gonna pause here for just a couple of minutes and we'll take a couple of questions. And then I do want to show you, I'm gonna take that exact agent, we're gonna remix it and change it into a completely different agent with, by changing one sentence. Mark, you had a question?
Yeah, just a quick one. It was just what you just spoke about. So when you're formatting the output, is that done normally in the display block where you give it the prompt to say, I want it to be, as a text, as a table, or is that in the generate text?
It would all be in the generate text block.
Okay,
So if you are playing around and you see this display content
right,
block,
right.
these are the display
UI
content
stuff.
block doesn't actually make a call to an AI model at all. This is
Okay,
basically like saying print. And so it will just output whatever you type in here, and whatever variables you put in, it will replace the variable with text. So, yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely. Pierre, you have a question?
Sorry about that. Can you guys
No, no
hear me?
worries.
So I do have a question about, uh, I guess the flexibility of these agents that we create. Let's say I create a model, and I'm using it. Let's say I actually have a computer science degree, so I'm creating a web app right now. Let's say I want to use
Hmm.
one of these agents within
Yeah.
that web app. Is
Hmm.
is it able for me? Am I able to embed? Okay. It sounds like you're
Oh,
about to
so
answer my question. So I basically can I embed the agent right within that web app, that I create within MindStudio, and then use it to power my web app.
100%. So there's a couple of ways that you can
Okay.
deploy these agents. I'm going to just briefly touch upon it, but we actually have full workshops on this. One of those ways
Okay.
is you can directly embed the agent on a website, right? So
Okay.
you do this thing that we call enabling guest access, and that gives you just a very simple iframe. And it's like the embed code for a website if you're building websites. The other is if you're building your own web app, you can actually trigger these agents via API. And so you're able to pass through any sort of variables that you want through the agent as a launch variable. So, for example, if you had, reviews in your, let's say you're building like an app that sells different kinds of products and those products contain reviews. Let's say you wanted to automatically moderate um, automatically moderate the reviews for spam content. That's something that um, can't necessarily be done programmatically, right? Like you could definitely define like different criteria for what you think spam content is, but it's relatively fuzzy, right? And so this is a perfect example of uh, like using an AI agent as kind of a serverless a function that you could call at any moment to do that processing for that fuzzy logic. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. I actually have a follow-up question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Sure. Are so, and then I'm thinking that the answer is probably yes, being that you guys use a lot of different models from a lot of different companies. But
Hmm.
let's say I wanted to create an agent or some type of AI system that learns the user that is using the web app, right? And so it kind of adapts to that specific user.
Yeah.
Um, and just that user alone, right? And so that it does that for any number of users that are quote unquote members or users of that particular web app. Is that something that I could create as well with these with MindStudio?
Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to cover it on today's call, but we have different kinds of variables. One of those variables, so the ones that we're using right now are these things called launch variables, and those are only available on runtime. So after the run is over, that variable essentially gets cleared. But we have these other variables that are called global variables and user variables that are persistent between runs. And so you could slowly build out um, several user variables all around your specific user so that you get, their preferences, their, you know, their favorite foods, like whatever information you want to store about that particular user, and then use that as context for the agents that you're building or the specific process that you're building in MindStudio. So
Well,
yeah, man,
thank you so much. That answered my questions greatly. I'm actually a lot more excited about I can use MindStudio now, so I appreciate it.
awesome. Yeah, we've got you covered, dude. Um, Okay, we're gonna go Mark, Eric, and Margaret, and then I'm gonna continue with some other demos here because we have only scratched the surface. Showed you how to build an agent with like one sentence. Mark, go ahead.
Yep, I'll be quick. And this is just sort of a finish up of my last question. As far as the prompt that for this example that you used,
Hmm.
um, uh, I'm assuming that the model that you're going against would also impact, how that prompt is handled, right?
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, choosing the right model for the right task is super important. There are several factors to consider when choosing an AI model. For tasks like this, generally, you'll be fine with any model that you choose for some like a simple prompt like this. But you actually have the ability to test models side by side on MindStudio using this tool called the Profiler. And this actually allows you to send a prompt to multiple models at the same time. So if, for example, I wanted to test out Gemini 2.5 Flash versus Claude Haiku versus, OpenAI o4 Mini, and I could then, say, write a long story about, race cars or whatever, right? And then we can evaluate these models on several different factors, right? The first is latency. So you instantly uh, get to see firsthand how quickly the response is generated. The second thing we can test models for is the overall cost. So one thing that you should know about using models on MindStudio, all of this stuff is metered at cost. So when you run AI models, it's like the electric company. Whenever you use tokens, you pay for the usage. We don't mark up the usage; it's just a pass-through cost. So it's kind of whatever you end up using. So you can see here the usage cost for Gemini versus Claude versus o4 Mini. You kind of get those metrics here at the bottom, and then obviously we would consider the quality of the responses as a big factor when considering these AI models. So, for example, 2.5 Flash generated the longest story, and then I would say Claude 3.5 Haiku was probably the fastest and the cheapest, and then the last factor to consider when choosing an AI model, I'm going to go into these model settings. There's this thing called the context window. And the context window refers to the amount of data that you can pass into a single call to an AI model. So, for example, if you are wanting to upload massive files with like tons and tons of text, you may opt for a model that can handle that particular output. Or if you're scraping like 100 different web pages to build a research report, you might want to opt for a model that can handle all of that data in one call or architect it in a way where you can handle all of that data. Um, for the most part, you'll be fine with any model you choose. I don't have preferences one over the other. Some people, my general preference, like the one I use the most, is Gemini 2.5, just because of the context window. I don't have to worry about overloading it with too much information. But a lot of people love Claude for Sonnet. They claim it writes more human-like, whatever that means. It's totally subjective. So play around with a bunch of stuff and just kind of see what works best for you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Eric, you have a question?
Yes, Luis, just quick feedback and question as well. By the way, the extension browser that you have here really looks amazing, and it really looks easy to build, and I'm really interested with this. So my question is related to this as well. I noticed that the extension has the MindStudio logo. I'm just want to know if this can be customized, the extension for or rebrand. Oh, sorry, I think you're muted,
You're
Luis.
muted, Luis.
Thank you. Um, First of all, thank you. We're really excited about the extension. It really makes all of these AI agents super accessible at any moment. With regards to the question about adding your own branding to a side panel like this, the answer is yes and no. And I say that because we have launched our own extension, right, that can trigger all of these agents at any moment. But you also, while you can't brand this particular extension, you can easily build your own Chrome extension and trigger any agent you'd like via API. So it's still possible to create this like branded experience on your own and access all of the agents um, simply via API. Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that.
of course. Yeah. Margaret?
Hi there. My question is actually about something you were talking about earlier, where you were talking about the difference between extract and summarize.
Uh-huh.
So if I'm putting in a prompt or something, I'm like, okay, this is not specific enough. Is there a limit on the amount of characters that you can use?
There, you likely will not hit that limit. Um, so this is what I was talking about with the context window. So you'll notice if I hover over this thing, this says the context window is 200,000 tokens. And what that means, we do some quick maths. We can see here in the max response size, the token to word kind of conversion is uh, for one, it's three-fourths the amount of tokens. So for example, if I had 100 tokens, that would equate to 75 words. And so when we look at models, like their context window is 200,000 tokens, so it's like 175,000 words, or a million tokens, 750,000 words. So um, you shouldn't run into any issues with writing a prompt for an AI in terms of like the amount of stuff you can put in the prompt.
Okay, great. Thank you.
The other thing I'd say is as you're building your agents, you might want to have, this agent itself is one step, right? But you might have agents that are multiple steps. And so what I would recommend is for you to think about what you want the agent to do and have a step for each part of that task. So getting really good at kind of the systems thinking of, okay, first uh, I need to do this, and then I will use that information to do this, and then I will use that information to do this. And that will ultimately get me my final output versus trying to create what we call a monolithic prompt, where you try to handle
Mhm.
5 things all at the same time.
Right, kind of like the same as if you're doing like Chat GPT and you're prompting and you want like an outline for a book. You say like, give me this for each chapter, and then another prompt would be to expand on it, that kind of thing.
Exactly, exactly. You
Yeah,
want to
okay.
try to break that work up as much as possible because it's better at handling individual tasks
Mhm.
versus many tasks all at the same time.
Okay, great. Thanks.
No problem. Okay, Amir, and then we're gonna continue with demos.
Sure, thanks, Luis. I don't know is this the right time to insert the question, but I've been playing
Sure,
around
sure, sure,
with
sure.
with that particular YouTube summarizer or learnings extractor,
Yeah.
and I got stuck with the writing to variable. I was trying to extend it by saving it to a Google document.
Okay.
And I've been going round in circles for the past few hours. So I'm wondering if at some point we can jump back onto this one, if it's not appropriate now, and just see how to extract what we saw on screen and put it into a document.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to cover that on this
Sure.
call. But what I would recommend is maybe we can drop the links to our Slack channel,
Okay.
and that would be the best place to get
Perfect.
help for something like that. It's super
Great.
easy to do, and we also have tutorials on how to do that. But
Okay.
it's not something we cover in these intro
No problem.
workshops.
No problem.
All right, let's continue. And I'm going to take this agent, extract learnings, and I am going to use what we call a remix link. You'll see here in the settings of our agent that we have this thing called access. These access settings let us determine who we share these agents with, if they're, completely private for us, if they're available for collaborators in our workspace, if we want to make them completely public. And then there is this tab called remixing. And when this is enabled, we get this very special link that we can share with folks. And it kind of turns our agent into a template that allows anybody to make a copy of it. And so I'm going to make a copy of this extract learnings agent. When I click on make a copy, I now have an exact copy. And what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this agent into a financial analyst. So let's say I want to go to Yahoo Finance and just look at a particular stock and give me an analysis on a stock. So maybe um, what are the top gains today? Or maybe I'll just look up, a random We'll look up Tesla. That seems like a stock that everybody knows about, right? So we want to do a financial analysis on this stock and kind of analyze the content on this page and give us some indicators as to whether or not it's a good time to, buy or sell or etc., right? Well, we can do that. Let me just clean up some of my tabs. It's getting a little messy here. Okay. So we're going to change the name of our agent. I'm going to call this one my finance analyst. And there we go. I promise I can spell. It's fine. It doesn't matter if I can spell or not. Because the AI agent knows what I what I actually mean. And we're going to keep the same structure. We have our page content, but instead of saying extract key learnings, what I'm going to write in here is perform a fundamental analysis of this stock. And one of the techniques that we teach people when they write AI prompts is we use this thing called XML tagging. All you need to know is that we add these little angled brackets, and then we can add we can kind of label things in our prompt. Think of it as like a label maker for the prompts that you write, and it allows you to distinguish and recall things as your prompts get longer. So I'm just going to label this as a stock, and then you need to have the same tags, but just closing tags. There we go. And now I can say perform a fundamental analysis of stock, right? And that's going to say perform a fundamental analysis of everything inside of these labels here. We can also say I want to know if it's a good time to buy or not, right? We can pretty much prompt it with whatever we'd like. But just like that, we've created our finance analyst. And I'm not a finance analyst. You can make this prompt way better if you know about how to analyze a stock. There might be specific things that you look for. I'm not an expert at this stuff, but generally I want to be able to parse all of the information that's on that page. So I have, just by changing one sentence, couple things in the prompt, I now have this new thing called finance analyst. And maybe maybe I want to add a like an icon for my agent. So I can go, I can find, if I go to a site like Flat Icon, you can download free icons and stickers. And I can say, okay, we'll accept cookies. And I can say money. And we can find, perfect. We'll use the stack of money as our, here we go. There we go. I now have my icon, and I can upload it. See here. There we go. Uploaded the money icon. Now this agent is all set, and I can open it up and pin it to my extension. So again, you open it up, you click on these three dots, you click on pin in extension, and then we can now open this up. We'll refresh this page. I'll open up my Chrome extension here. Oops, nope, I meant the side panel here. And we will find our financial analyst. Let me zoom in so we can all see the extension. There we go. There's my finance analyst. I'll click on it. It will begin running on this page and perform a fundamental analysis. Buy, sell, or hold. Here are all of the metrics. Here's recent news and events. Here's the community analysis. Recommendation, avoid. And we get a bunch of information. Is it a good time to buy? Based on this analysis, not a good time to buy for Tesla value-focused investors, right? Again, I'm not a financial analyst. I don't know if this is, if a financial analyst will recommend this, but if you are and you do know about this, you can modify this prompt very easily to provide criteria as to when a good time to buy is and when a bad time to buy is, right? Like that's the contextual information that you can include in your prompt here.
Right. So Lewis, this is Mark. Sorry. So that's the location that you would go and say, okay, I want it to use Markowitz's portfolio theory and give me, I want stocks that only have an alpha of this, or I don't know if you know anything about Mark West's portfolio theory, but you can give it directions at that point in time to make it more specific in terms of the output that you're looking for.
Yes,
But that's where,
absolutely.
not that it matters whether it's, race cars or finance, but that's the location that you would add it, is what I'm asking.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. Yes. And you also have access to there's controls here that allow you to expand this and actually write much more. Kind of use this as like a text editor Word doc and add as much information as you want on this action. Think of this as like a big outline for like the particular step that you're on. Um, I'll actually show you really
Thank you.
quick, and yeah, no problem. Mark Olson?
Yeah. Hey, what in your prompt, um, basically, where do you have in your prompt where they enter the stock they want to look at?
Oh yeah, so this is uh see how we're using this page content variable? What
Uh-huh.
that means is whatever stock I'm currently looking at, that's the one that I want analyzed. So if I
Okay.
were to look up a different stock or the S&P 500, the whole index, I could
Okay.
run a new run. It'll take uh, take the analysis of this page, right? Can't provide financial advice, but here's everything here are the arguments on the page, right?
But what if it had multiple stocks on the page? Well,
Well, you would need to specify in the prompt what you're actually looking at. You know,
okay.
it's really again, you can make 5 different analysts for different kinds of web pages that you're looking at. So maybe there's like a multi-stock um, agent, maybe there's a single stock agent, right? It's totally up to you how you kind of structure these things, and you can have multiple agents doing all kinds of different, very specific things.
Right.
Um, okay, I want to show you another use case. Um, Here I have a CRM on HubSpot, and there is a bunch of people inside of this CRM, and I have built an agent that I call my extract people to HubSpot CRM agent. And what this agent does, I'm not going to build it live, but I will open it up here. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. It's actually in the ready to use agents here. Let me go back to my main workspace. Um, Here we go. Extract people to HubSpot CRM. What this agent does is it automatically will extract all of the people on the page and then pull information in a structured way and add those, enrich and hydrate those contacts and add them to my CRM. So let me go through and I will make a copy of this agent. Actually, I'll just show you how it works. Let's say you go to a place like LinkedIn and or even to, if you were on a conference page, let's see, inbound conference, build in your future. What's inbound? Maybe I'll just look up a conference. The AI conference, right? And we have a list of all these speakers. Let's say I wanted to get in touch with all these speakers. Well, I would run my extract people to HubSpot CRM agent. And in order to do that, I need to make sure that I have HubSpot connected. You can connect to all kinds of different services. There's this section called Workspace and Integrations, where you can connect to things like ActiveCampaign and Airtable, Coda, Notion. You have this HubSpot connection here, so you want to make sure that that's active. And then on any page, you can run this agent. And what this agent does is it takes the names and people on this page and organizes them into what they do, who they work for, and then it will go and try and find that person's email. And if it's successful, it will actually add that contact into my HubSpot CRM. So you can see here, it's as it begins starting, we'll take a look at the agent itself. Let me go back into my ready to use agents. We'll make a copy of this extract people agent. And the way this agent works, you can see it's more than one step, right? You actually we use that same pattern where we take the page content, we extract all the people, and we return their name, a couple of sentences about who they are, the domain they most likely work at, their job title, company name, LinkedIn profile, etc. And then we run this sub process, this sub workflow. We iterate through that list of people, kind of have it looping, and we say for every single person, find their email. And we find their email using this service called hunter.io. It's a very common lead enrichment service. And then we add that contact to HubSpot. So I don't know why it's taking a second to load here. Maybe I'll try running this on a LinkedIn people search. We'll do that instead. So let's say I want to look up sales directors, and I go into a people search. I see all people. And what I can do is run this agent here, extract people to the HubSpot CRM. And it will begin going through and taking information that appears on this page here. I don't know, it's stuck loading. But what we get in, basically all of this was pulled from just simply going on LinkedIn and typing in marketing director and clicking on that button. And I can click that button multiple times. I don't have to actually wait for it to end. I can go through and go to the next page, run this same agent. I think I have another agent here that is extract people and add to CRM. I can run this multiple times and go to the next page and run it again. Whoops, click the wrong button. There we go. Extract, enrich, and add to CRM. And I can run this, I can just keep turning this agent on, and it already has the context from those previous pages. You can run this multiple times all at the same time. And what you get is this list of people where we have their hydrated contacts. We know who they work for. We can begin enriching them further. We can begin creating sales collaterals for those people, or initial cold outreach messages to try and get in contact with them, etc., etc. So I'm going to pause for 1 second, take a couple more questions, and then we're going to look at an agent that I'm going to build an agent that we use for content generation. Any questions? Really wish I could have showed you. Oh, I don't know. It's kind of
I have
hanging
an
here,
idea
but
of an agent. We should do that for the next hour.
all right,
do you
shoot.
guys
If it's
do you
easy, I'll
guys
build it.
I don't think it's easy, but it's here's what it is, real quick, right? I mean, so what I'm looking to do is as an adult learning professional, a digital command, I'm looking for to help people with AI readiness, right? Digital fluency, data literacy. What are the skills? So the agent's goal would be to scrape job postings for non-technical roles, project managers, marketing people, operations, and extract those that mention AI related skills, right? And then the sources would be, I don't know, LinkedIn, Indeed, wherever it would scrape. And the competency keywords would be AI literacy, prompting, machine learning, automation, yada, yada. And then it would return, okay, maybe a list of those job roles that have AI competencies within them, so that I can begin to work upon that to say, listen, based upon those, this is what I'm seeing to help those individuals get those competencies to be able to have those roles. So that would be my goal in building an agent. And I don't know how, if that's a level 2, I'm thinking, instead of a level 3 agent, right? I don't think it's a multi-agent party. I think it's but that's what I would try to do if I was going to build an agent based upon what I'm.
Let's
And I,
see. I don't know how LinkedIn Jobs works, but I can scroll down this page and get a bunch of jobs, right? And maybe I can, let's see.
but where would I scrape? Like, I hate that term, right? But I mean, again, to get the, would I just use it? Would I build it as an extension and then go to say Indeed and say this is what I'm looking for within Indeed, these roles, these AI related competencies, and
Yeah.
return that to me in a, some type of format.
Well, let me show you a couple of features that might help with this.
Okay, I mean,
Um,
not too crazy, I don't think.
Yeah, so the first thing that you can do that we'll look at is a user input block, and this block
Mhm.
allows you to essentially create these Google Forms style form fields.
Right.
And with these user input blocks, when you create a new one, you can fill this out. All of the info that is entered into that particular form is saved into a variable, right? That we can name whatever we want.
But is that me filling it out for the agent to work with, or is
Yeah.
this
So
a user that shows up to do this?
let's say we wanted to not only filter jobs related to AI competency, but we also wanted to match your resume, see if your resume actually matches that job, and if you're a good
Well,
candidate for
you
a job
could
like
do
that,
that,
right?
right? I mean, but yeah,
Um,
I think.
or
So
let's
let's
say
say the variable
let's
is
say is
it,
keywords, right?
the keywords would be, AI detection, like would be again AI skills that match, like again, automation, deep learning, intelligent automation, predictive analytics.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to build the whole thing here, but just kind of
Oh no, no, I know, but
giving you
that's
some
what you would
ideas
do.
here.
Okay,
Yeah. You'd say give me some keywords of job posts. And you could hard code this for sure, but maybe sometimes you want to look up AI competency, maybe sometimes you want to look up product marketing, right? Like this could be a general use case agent, right? And then you could run a Google search. There's a block here, and if I type in Google, I have this search Google block here,
okay,
and I can basically have AI generate a search query for me. So I could say write a Google search query. We'll say write a single Google search query that will help me find jobs related to the following keywords, right? And then I would have my keywords variable that I just created. That's going to be entered, right? And then it would create the query. We would say reply only with the single query and nothing else, right? We could take the output of this and save it to a variable, because not only can you display it, but you can actually save it in the background and use it later.
okay.
And then we could call this our query. We would then, search Google using that query. And the results is all of the links we get back, Google results. And then what we could do is we could scrape those results. So we actually you essentially get this list of results back. I'll just display it for us here.
Right.
But we could run this sub process where we scrape each of those individual job posts and see if there's a good fit for.
Well, okay, based upon resumes, but for me, it'd be like I'm just looking for the presence of AI related keywords within job descriptions. So that
Mhm.
helps me then look at, someone that has a marketing role. These are probably the AI skills that they may need to have that they may be unaware of, and I'm looking for that match. And
Yeah, I
maybe
mean
the
the other
output's a filtered list of job descriptions that mention AI skills.
totally. Well, I mean the other thing you could do is just like have the search, AI, just put in the search here, and
Right.
then use the browser extension to pull the page content or the raw HTML from the page,
Okay, so I can
and
go to
then
each page and pull it from there using the Chrome extension.
exactly,
Okay, that's
exactly.
what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. No, thank you. That was very helpful.
No problem. Yeah, that's the cool thing about MindStudio and building AI agents is that there's not a single way to accomplish every single task. Like it really gives you the flexibility to kind of architect it in a way that makes sense to you. And what I typically tell people as they're building agents, because a lot of folks are always ask about, what is the best way to do something? And I tell them the best way is the way that makes sense for you as the architect. So if you are building some sort of process, you need to be able to understand each part of that process, whether it's, taking a user input and generating a query and then running a Google search, or whether it's using a browser extension and scraping every individual item there. And there's a bunch of ways to
Right.
do it.
And it's the low code thing. I mean, I can do multivariate calculus, but I can't write freaking Python to save my life, right? And nor
Right.
would I want to.
Yeah.
But God bless those people that do.
Yeah, I mean the main skill here, what's nice about building AI agents as well is like the main skill here is actually it's not calculus and it's not code. It's actually an exercise in communication, right? If you are
Yep.
able to write what you want effectively,
Yeah.
you will be
Well
able
said.
you'll be able to get that, right? So, um yeah, let's build something else. What maybe we can
Do
go
you
through.
guys
Oh, I
do you
actually
guys
want to. Oh, sorry.
I have a question, not to interrupt.
Sure. No, no
Do you
problem.
guys do you guys ever do anything with Salesforce?
Yeah. So one of the we're looking to add Salesforce to our integrations list, right? We have a bunch of blocks here where we have connectors. Salesforce has kind of a tricky API, but what you can do is we have this block called an HTTP request block. And for everything that, let me type that in again. For anything that has an API and that you have an API key for, you can look up their API and tap into that Salesforce API directly. So it's
Okay.
not an issue at all. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So I have to do it that way then. Okay.
For now, yeah.
Okay. Got you.
Yeah. The other way is, if you want to use MindStudio as like the AI portion of a larger orchestration, like let's say you're already on an automation platform like Zapier or Make or N8N, like we already integrate with those. So if there's already a simpler connection, you could theoretically use the
I
connection
got you.
from those platforms and then run a MindStudio agent for the AI processing part of it.
I got you. I got
Yeah.
you now. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mark?
Yeah, so showing your example that you watched of basically importing leads into HubSpot, I suppose it could be anything.
Hmm.
I'm just curious, and I'm probably getting a little detailed here, but does it just automatically do it? Or I mean, do you have to do the data mapping to say, okay, this is the first name, that's first name there, this is the last name there? Is that just all happen?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Let me actually open up the agent. You do have to do the mapping ahead of time.
Okay.
So when you build the agent, it's not going to automatically say these are all of the properties that need to get added. I'm actually specifying in my agent build, like this property relates to this property inside of HubSpot and things like that. So let's see if I can talk you through. So if we look at the main flow here, what this generate text block does is it basically creates this example profile of that person or list of people, right? And I have it create kind of this like structured JSON output. We learned this in like our boot camp, but if JSON unlocks like a ton of powerful possibilities with your AI agents, and highly recommend learning how to use it. It's super easy once you get the hang of it. Basically, what that gives us is this list of people, right? And all of those people have these properties: first name, last name, job title, company, the domain name, et cetera, et cetera. I then I like go through this list, and for each person on that list, I say, okay, you're going to run this sub workflow. And in that workflow, you're going to find me their email using this block here. And then I have this create contact block where I can manipulate all of the different properties that I want to add. So whether that's the email, the first name, last name, if I select my actual thing, I can actually add all the properties that are of it, hundreds of HubSpot properties and map map those values to HubSpot when that contact is created. So I think HubSpot has like 300 plus properties by default that you could add in there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hmm.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So why don't we build another agent? Oh yeah, Daniel, you have a question?
Yeah, I'll try to make it just a quick, easy one. You don't have to go through anything. The first is, I don't know if too technical for this, but are you able to create a WebSocket and open a session for like a chatbot in this? And then within that question, when we look at the paid tiers, there's, 5,000 runs, 25,000 runs. Is a run every interaction with that chatbot, or would that single session up to a certain length be a single run?
That's a good question. Yeah, so a run is just one entire run start to finish. Like going through every block start to end is considered one run. So it's not like every individual block in the workflow itself. Um, so it's quite generous, right? You can run them each time you click on the button to like create a new summary or add new people to your HubSpot CRM or whatever. That's considered one run. And then with regards to WebSocket connections, I it I think it is possible. Or maybe not. For chat, what you'd want to do is you need to build it on, like if you're building your own application, you basically would need to run the messages through the agent via API, and so you'd kind of have this chat
Hmm.
log, and each API call you would include the entire chat log. Um,
So we'd facilitate the memory on our side and
yeah,
just inject
correct.
it.
Yeah, but the easier solution here is actually just embedding the agent itself because we have the ability to like this end state. Here, let me
Well,
uh,
we're
the
trying to, and I think we'll probably go to some other workshops and maybe look up a custom license with you guys just to explore on what the best design would be. Do we inject memory via API into a vector database and let the agent run? How
right,
fast? What's their performance going to be like? Or should we go to Google Vertex and do something else?
totally. Yeah, makes sense. But you could theoretically just have a chat. Like we have the capability for you to facilitate chat interactions directly via this agent. So if you weren't looking to create just like a start to finish workflow, I don't know why I'm getting this agent execution queued thing. There we go. Where you can just hold a conversation like you would any other chat client.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, please contact us and we'll touch base on like what your requirements are and let you know. You can sync with our, Eng team and figure out the details.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Okay, let's build a different type of agent. So far we've been building agents that um, kind of they generate an output for us. And what I'd like to do instead is I'm going to make an agent that takes content from a web page. Like I'm terrible with social media. I don't post social media that often. And part of the reason is sometimes I'm just scared to write stuff. But I know the AI agent can help me write things that feel at least semi-professional. So what I'm going to do is create an agent that analyzes a piece of content, um, allows me to select what type of content I'm making, whether that's like a tweet storm or a maybe a LinkedIn post or writing a blog post. And then if we choose LinkedIn post, we can have it automatically post to LinkedIn for us. Let me go ahead and go back to our main menu. We'll close out some of these tabs to just clean up all this confusing. I don't know about you guys, but when I have too many tabs open, I feel unfocused. Um, so just like before, we're going to use the browser extension run mode here. And what we're going to be doing is pulling the page content and writing a LinkedIn post.
Hey, are you
So I'm
sharing
going
your
to say,
screen?
am I not sharing my screen? Here, let me
No.
stop sharing.
Are
And
you not
then
sharing?
now I will re-share my screen. Can you see
Cool.
my screen now?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I clicked on the start block and I changed this to browser extension. And you could just really quickly covering these other types. So on demand is we were to use on demand, we would basically just publish this agent and get a link, and then we would run it directly inside of MindStudio. This scheduled agent just runs on a regular interval. And then this email, you'll see when I have this email run mode, I get this email address that I can forward my emails to. Similar is the webhook run mode where I get a webhook that will trigger this agent run, and we can pass data through to this run. This one's going to be the browser extension run mode, and in in this case, we're going to use the content, and we'll add the page content, and then close out those tags, and then we'll say write a LinkedIn post for me based on the content. My writing style is direct and informative. I don't, use hyperbole or exaggerate when I speak. Oh, Mark, sorry, I didn't realize you had your hand up.
No, that's okay. This is great because and a good question around this, which is like I have my own like bot that I have contextual that if I want to write a LinkedIn post, it kind of knows where I'm coming from and digital command and what our thoughts are and yada yada. And I'm just wondering what's the benefit of having an agent create a post versus just say a contextualized bot or a RAG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the agent itself can use RAG systems, and you can have
Right.
all of that contextual information in the system. For example, the system prompt versus this what we call the block prompt. So
Uh-huh.
I can actually take this and include that contextual information here. This is where I would include things like the role of the agent and things like that. So um,
So
and then
it seems like it's a simpler process. Quite
yeah,
frankly.
yeah. And then if you wanted to, like, let's say you had brand guidelines, we're not going to cover too much about this, but
Right.
like, there's this thing called data sources that essentially allows you to upload all kinds of different files, vectorize them, and store them for
Okay.
like a RAG system that you could query at any moment to do that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Um,
No, right. Good. No, thank you. That makes sense.
yeah, awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. So let me move this back here. Let's keep this super simple. And then after we build this agent, I'll show you kind of what the other end of the spectrum is, like the super like many step workflow agents. So my writing style is direct, informative. Okay, so it's going to write a LinkedIn post for me based off of the page content. And if I wanted to, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just display the content so I can actually see it and read it. And so to do that, I'm just going to save to a variable. I'm going to call this LinkedIn post, and we will simply display the LinkedIn post. There we go. And then I'm going to use this block. If I type in LinkedIn, we have these blocks: scrape LinkedIn profile or company or create a LinkedIn post. Now, for a lot of these blocks, you do need to connect your account. So if you're not signed into LinkedIn, you need to click on connect account and then, sign into the platform. And once you're signed in, your account will become available to post on. So here we go. There's my account. And for the message, I'm going to put in the LinkedIn post. So let's go ahead and I can call this the LinkedIn post generator. And we click on publish, and then we can go to The Verge. Here we go. Wow. Okay. Topical. We just covered Tesla stock. And that's the article. let me publish this and open the agent and then pin it in my extension so I have easy access to it. There we go. So now I have this new agent, my LinkedIn post generator. And what this is going to do is write the LinkedIn post for me. And you can see here. Now, when we take a look at this, you can see that it generated not just the LinkedIn post, but it also had this kind of line beforehand. It's pretty common for an AI model to respond like this, to say, I say, generate a LinkedIn post, and then it says, okay, here's the LinkedIn post, rather than actually just giving me the LinkedIn post without anything. So, because if I were to continue, it would post all of this to LinkedIn, and I don't want that to happen. So this just lets me know, okay, I need to make an adjustment to my generate text block here. And I'm going to say reply with the plain text post and nothing else. And maybe I can also say I like emojis, just so that it adds some emojis to the post. Now I can publish this again. Let's go ahead and close this out and we can start a new run here. And now I get this LinkedIn post that has a couple of emojis and it's all in plain text. It's not bolding anything. I know it's a little hard to read, but it's just the post itself. And if I were to click on the next button, it would post to my LinkedIn profile, because what I have here is this create LinkedIn post block, right? You can also, instead of having this display content block, you can add more like more I don't know the right word for it. You can add a human in the loop interaction called a checkpoint block. And this checkpoint block allows us to either approve or reject or modify the text that is generated, right? Super useful, right? Because we don't want AI agents just posting things automatically. I want to see, it's my social account. I want to see what it writes and modify it beforehand. If I change this to revise, I can actually say, how does this post look? You know, kind of configure this. I give it the target variable, which is the thing that is generated here, the LinkedIn post. Yeah, and there's a number of configurations on here, but all we really need here is the target variable, and I gave it a title here. And let's say on reject, it just ends the workflow. So we kind of have these two branching paths. Let me go ahead and publish this one more time. And if we were to run this one more time, by the way, you can make this like bigger or smaller depending on how much space you need. Let's run this one more time. It's going to generate the text. You can see here, I can either chat with it and make updates. I'm going to say, can you make this funnier? And it will go through the text here, revise the text, and see if we can make funnier. Or I can edit it manually. And when I edit it manually, I can add whatever lines I want. This is amazing. Ha ha ha. Great. And then we can continue chatting. We can save it. We can continue chatting with it. Now, when we're ready, we can approve it, and it will send over to LinkedIn once it's ready. We can also have this as an alert. So if we were doing this automatically, it could, for example, scrape, you know, trending Twitter topics every day and then generate tweets for you, and then say, hey, I drafted some stuff for you. Can you approve them so that I can post them to your social profile? All you need to do is read the things that it makes, right? So a lot of, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of things you can do here, right? You have the ability to generate these incredible assets, like we saw uh, in the agent store. So let's take a look at this deep research agent, because I kind of want to show you, like, once you start working on agents, you get more comfortable. You can and start to get comfortable with kind of the systems thinking, like making workflows, you can do incredible things. This deep
Hey,
research
Louis.
agent, yes.
Hey, real quick, can you go back into the flow diagram? Or yeah, there we go.
Mhm.
Where did you create that branch? So it looks like you can go, either post or don't
Yeah,
post.
that is
I missed
right
that.
here. You see how it says on approve,
Oh, on
we link
approve.
it to
Gotcha.
this one, and on reject, we link to this one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah. I'm kind of going a little bit off script. I don't normally showcase this block in these intro calls, but it felt like it fit naturally. Lewis has
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
enough of
makes
these.
total sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's take a look at like what the other end of the spectrum in terms, we've built agents that are like 1, 2, 3 blocks, right? This is the deep research agent, and this agent takes, about rather than a few seconds to run, takes anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to run. And that's because what it does is it will scrape the entire, it'll come up with a bunch of queries based on a topic or a question, whatever you want to know about. And it will come up with a bunch of different Google search queries. It will see if it needs more information from you in order to fine tune exactly what you're looking for. Um, and if we make a copy, and you can do this with any agent in the store, is you can make a copy for yourself and see how these agents are actually built. And we click on the main.flow, we know that each of these sections here does different parts. So we start it. There's this logic block that basically says, did the user write in gibberish? Is their query like valid? If so, then we can continue to uh, build a plan around it. If not, just tell them, hey, you you wrote nothing. Like, this is off topic. I can't research for you. And then it will enrich the request. So take a look at this prompt. Using the provided user request, expand and enrich the request into a prompt that can be sent to a researcher, right? And then it includes the original request here. There's some other stuff in there. And then based off of that output, we have another generate text block that actually writes an entire research plan, right? So it not only makes the original user's request better, but it also builds the plan on how to properly research that topic. And then there's this user context block, which allows the AI to ask you follow-up questions. So let's say I want to know about, ice cream, and the AI will say, okay, well, what do you want to do? You want to know how it's made? Do you want to know about the health factors when about eating ice cream? Do you want to know about XYZ about ice cream? Like what's specifically about ice cream you want to know about? It will ask those follow-up questions, and when it thinks it has enough information, it'll continue to the next step. So now we have all this contextual information. Then it will create this entire process. It creates a broad research plan where it takes those queries, and then it will actually run this sub process called broad research, and we can look in, let's see, broad research. It's called run query here, where it will take the research plan and the original query, and it will search Google multiple times. It'll pick the results that it thinks it's most relevant. It'll scrape all of those results, and then it goes through and extracts quotes from all of those pages, and then uh, sends all that back up, kind of normalizes all of it to make it easy to read, and then it begins doing the deep research, where it actually goes through. And if we look in it does basically the same thing, but with the deep queries instead of regular queries. And then it begins to compile a report, validates it, sets a run title, and then these steps are all running. They're grouped together and they run in parallel, because you can also run steps in parallel. Where we create images, we create a podcast, we create visualizations, we create the cover image, and then all of that gets kind of put together in that final asset that we saw in MindStudio. So you have the ability to like find any agent in the store and see how it's built. Not all of them are as long as this agent, uh, but gives you a very good idea. And if we look at some of the outputs of this agent, for example, we see more outputs. We can see that it's capable of making, let's see, what looks interesting. AI customer service in the UK. It's capable of generating, you know, these like high quality, shareable assets. It generates all of the takeaways. It generates every section. It generates every image. This one looks like it did not have a podcast with it, but let me see if I can um, showcase the podcast. It chooses which pieces of text to highlight. And of course, you're probably asking, well, okay, how do we know this is all accurate? Well, it also, at the very bottom, this is a huge report. At the very bottom lists all of the sources of information. So it quotes all of its own work. It basically has this giant bibliography that we can explore, click on any link, and see where it was able to pull this information from. Mark.
Yeah, just quick question, kind of a general question, right? So, I mean, generative AI overall has access to, several different types of models, right? I mean, image, text to speech, speech to text, natural language processing, yada, 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 right?
Yeah.
I think my question is kind of more like, again, like theoretical as, do you utilize those within this? Because these seem to be very kind of specific in terms of what the output's going to be. It's not all the services combined. It's maybe just one or two. You don't need to examine a document and provide some attributes about it. I guess what I'm kind of trying to ask is, yeah, it really depends upon the models and how many models you have access to. And you probably can use multiple models for multiple kind of AI services within an agent. Does that make sense, or is that a foolish question?
No. It makes sense. You can use multiple models that do all kinds of to perform different tasks. So the
Right. Okay.
the generate text block is the one that calls a text model, but we also
Right.
have a generate image block that
Okay.
calls
Okay.
an image model. Yeah, so there's a bunch of if you look here,
So it
you
has
can
access to all the different kind of AI services that you can. Yeah, there you go. Text to
yeah.
speech, right? Analyze video. Okay.
Yeah. You
All
have
right.
access to all of these different models, but it's specific to the output itself.
Right.
So if you want to generate a video, you'd use this block. You want to create a podcast, you want to analyze a video or text and things like that. You have access to all of these different AI models that generate different kinds of things.
And if you need them within the output that you want to get.
Yeah. So
Okay.
for example, I might use a generate text model to like let's say I wanted to remix a photo, but I don't know how to write an image prompt. I might use a generate text block to have AI actually write my image prompt for me, and then we'd pass that into the image model to actually generate the image. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well thought out. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah.
Hope that was
Sorry, let me.
helpful. I know it was kind of general, but this is
No, yeah. I love the questions, Mark. Keep them coming. I'm gonna clear all drawings really quick. Lewis.
I was just going to add, when Mark asked his question just now, it made me think about Profiler, where you can compare different models and their responses side by side. That was what came to my mind when he was asking that question too. So you might show that to them.
Totally. Yeah, we did we covered the profiler a bit earlier in the call. But yeah, that's totally right. The profiler is really just for
thanks, Lewis.
testing the text blocks. Um, but yeah, you have the ability to see how these models work side by side, get a good sense of the outputs of those models. The other thing that I didn't cover is the debugger. So one of the things that I find extremely valuable when building AI agents, like a lot of times you have these, like you're building like a GPT or whatever. You don't actually know what's happening under the hood. You can't like dive deep and see what's happening at each step in a workflow that you're building. And so we have this like very robust debugger that allows you to see everything that's happening step by step in the workflow. So let me pull up an old agent, so like we can look at a previous run. Let's see. So here is a, sorry folks, give me 1 second. I'm just looking for the agent I wanted to showcase. Oh, this is why. Okay, so here is an agent that I built that is like a lightweight version of that deep researcher. And if we look at previous runs of this agent, you can see that we we can see what happens step by step in this workflow. Every piece of this debugger gives you information about all of the data that is passing through that particular block. So we have things like the run is started, what the run ID is, any initial, excuse me, any initial variables that we run through. We had this user input block where we set this variable topic to sci-fi travel. Excuse me. I'm not used to talking for 2 hours straight, apparently. And this user context block, which asks these extra questions and gathers additional information about the topic that we specified. You can kind of see how each the inquiry area and the answer. And in addition to that, this runs a couple of sub-processes, and you also can see the sub-processes and how each of those sub-workflows works. So this one searches Google, gets this list of websites back, excuse me, and then scrapes each individual website here. Mark?
Yeah, another crazy question. So right now you have access to, I think, 90 pre-built models, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or so.
Agents, yeah. Or wait,
Agents.
no.
Oh, models.
Are you talking models? Models.
LLMs, right? Yeah, models.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And however, some organizations are, if they want to, they can build their own,
Mm-hmm.
train their own models based upon their own data sets and whatnot. Are they able to incorporate those at this point, or will they? Is that a possibility?
Yeah. Bring your own models is a feature on custom plans only, but yeah, we
Okay.
can definitely work with
Yeah, I
you
just
to.
wondered if, okay.
Yeah.
Not that the pre-built, don't know just about everything they need to know. I don't know why you need many more. But
Yeah, or some organizations prefer to use their own API keys. They don't, necessarily want to use the API keys from MindStudio. So like we make those accommodations on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
All of that's doable. It's not an issue at
Thank you.
all.
I hope that was a reasonable question.
Yeah. Well, okay. I am going to pause for a second. We have, a little over 15 minutes. I want to just open up the floor. I know we've been kind of answering questions. Just a quick gauge. Is there anything did this make sense? I hope this at least sparked some curiosity enough to like play around and try building something. We're not, we're just kind of scratching the surface. As you can see, like there's hundreds of blocks to look at. There's a bunch of different build techniques. And so I hope that at least the takeaway from this is that just based off these 2 hours, you feel confident building your own AI agent, right? Like you saw at the very beginning, it doesn't need to be overly complex. You can bring in content from a web page. You can write one sentence to do something with that content, and you publish it. You add it to your extension, and then you now have these like superpowers while you're browsing the web. That you just click on a button, it does something amazing, right? And start with that, and play around. And then as you keep building, you'll learn more and more things.
Do you have like instructions on how to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me share my screen one more time. So we're going to share some resources with you. First off, if you go to the MindStudio Getting Started page, you'll notice that we have quick links to MindStudio University. This is a full video course that I've built 100% free to access. You can go at your own pace. Definitely check that out if you're looking to start building AI agents. It's meant to be, you can kind of go in any order, but if you go from start to finish, I would just start at the top and learn a bit about each thing. We also have these team trainings and boot camps available. So let's say you want just like a 2-day intensive. Maybe actually, I think Josh might have the updated link for that. Um, but we have a bunch of different programs that are available to like extend learning. Our YouTube channel, we post stuff all the time to our YouTube channel. Actually, Lewis makes incredible demos about
Hello, everyone. In
agents
this
that he's
video, I'm going to
building.
show you how to build your very first AI agent. It's very
Mark, I'm just gonna mute you because I can hear myself. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going crazy. Um, but yeah, I would definitely recommend follow Lewis. Not me, Luis, but Lewis. Yeah, thanks for waving. Um, Lewis has an amazing LinkedIn where he basically builds agent templates every single day and explains how they're made. Um, Great learning resource. We post all those to our YouTube channel. And then lastly, if you want to attend, we basically do a bunch of free workshops all the time. And you can find that on a calendar called Luma. And I will share that. Let me share that calendar with everyone here. So you can check out uh, this calendar. Sign up for the calendar. You'll see that there are a bunch of community hosted events. There's a bunch of workshops like this one that we host each week. A lot of opportunities to like join our community. We also have, and Christian, I see your hands raised. I'll get to you in just 1 second. I just want to wrap this, share all these resources. We have an amazing Slack channel. Maybe Josh, I feel like Josh has all of these links, but maybe Josh, if you could share the link to Slack so that everybody can
Okay.
join. Feel free to introduce yourself in there. Bunch of different paths for learning, I guess is what I'm trying to say, Mark. So yeah. Uh, Christian, you had a question?
Of the question. I'm just going to put you in the chat because I'm in the now environment.
Oh, I'm so sorry, my friend. You're very muffled. I can't quite hear you. I'm gonna read. Yeah, can MindStudio build a lightweight AI-assisted operations dashboard that automatically compiles data from something like Paycor and SharePoint? Yeah. So one thing that we didn't cover, because this is just an intro course, but you have the ability to actually vibe code front-end interfaces and use those front-end interfaces. So you can pull in data from wherever you want. I'll quickly show kind of what that interface looks like. But basically, you take that same user input block, and if we select custom, we can actually design our own front-end interface. So if I say make me a mortgage dashboard, whatever, it will start vibe. If you've used Cursor or any vibe coding tools, works in the exact same way. You basically have this preview. It will start coding the interface for you, and then you'll see a preview on the right-hand side, and you can continue chatting with it to make changes to it. So totally possible to build something like that. Any
Okay.
other questions, folks?
Luis, what considerations do we need to make if you're building a solution and you're selling it onto if we're selling it onto our end customers? So in terms of calculating the usage, the tokens, all that, how does that work? How do you compute the usage and in order to buffer how you sell it to the customer?
Yeah, so there are many different ways in which people monetize AI agent creation. So the way you're talking about is kind of like a SaaS model where you host these agents, embed them on your website. You would basically charge a subscription fee on your own, and you'd need to calculate how much that costs relative to how much your users are actually using the agent. But what you can do is actually set a usage limit. So let's say you don't want your agent to go over like $100 a month, right? It'll actually stop at like that $100 mark. The
Right.
other way that actually this is what most people end up doing is they kind of act as like a digital transformation consultant for an organization. And that person will look at the organization, look at what their current business processes looks like, and find places that AI agents can make their organization more efficient. And the way that they go about monetizing their AI agents is similar to like someone who develops websites for folks. They
Yeah,
will
yeah,
actually create a workspace for that organization. The ownership of those agents would be inside like the organization's ownership of the agents, and you would basically need to find an agreement and be on retainer to maintain,
yeah,
update, create agents for that particular
yeah.
organization. Yeah,
Great. Thanks.
of course. Any other questions, folks? Oh, yeah, I see there's a link to Slack here. Thanks, Josh. I'm going to copy that link and post it here. There we go. That's a link to our Slack. I feel like that's like the canonical place for everyone to join. Very friendly community that it's actually, I've started a lot of communities, and this is one of the friendliest, most helpful, supportive communities that I've been a part of. And I'm really proud of really just how nurturing everyone is in there. So I highly recommend you join. Um, Everyone's there to learn, share learnings, help each other out. So take advantage of folks that just want to build. Or if, let's say, you're like, this was interesting, but I actually don't want to spend the time building it myself. That's a great pool to find talent to build, build agents for you. Um, so yeah,
Hold on, Mr.
no worries. All right, folks. Well, maybe we can get a few minutes back. Thank you all so much for joining. I hope you found this session helpful. Please, I think you get a feedback form at the end of this. Please just, if you found it helpful, just make sure you rate us, let us know how we did. And if you have any additional comments